So we're going to look at interpreting graphs today. So the very first thing we're going to talk about is the x-intercept. Now the x-intercept is where it touches the x-axis, right? So we're going to do that. So get your yellow highlighter and we're going to look at all the ones that are the x-intercepts. That means it touches the x-axis. So we're going to do that on all the graphs. On number one, see, look at your x-axis. This is your x-axis. There's not any. So on number one, since it doesn't touch anywhere, I'm going to put none. Okay? On graph number two, look at your x-axis, which is right here. It touches at 9. Not at 9, probably at 10, because each line, like half of 4, like if I do 4 divided by 2, it would be 2. So 2, 4, 6, 8, this is 10. So not 9, but the x-intercept would be 10. And this is batches of cookies. So 10 batches. Okay? On number 3, here's your x-axis. It touches at 0 and it touches at 120. So I put 0 and 120. And those are both yards. Now that is not an ordered pair. That's two different places it touches the x. On number 4, again, look at the x-axis. It touches at 6. And this is height. Hours, not height, sorry. 6 hours, because it's time. And then on number 5, here's your x-axis. So go across, it touches at -8. So my x-intercept is -8. And then on number 6, look at where it touches the x-axis. It touches at number +3. So this is +3. So remember, the x-intercept is where it touches the x-axis, which is always the horizontal. Okay? So that was all the x-axis. So now we're going to go to the y-intercept. So the y-intercept, and as you can guess from the x-intercept, the y-intercept touches the y-axis. So we're going to use the green highlighter this time. The y-intercept touches the y-axis. So I'm going to go through and highlight y-intercept, and then we're going to look for the y-intercept. Okay? So let's go back to number 1. Where does it touch the y? Now remember, the y is up and down. Okay, so where does it touch? It touches right here. So that's 1,400, and that's money. So this is going to be $1,400. That's the y-intercept. On number 2, remember your y is up and down, okay? And it touches right there at 20, and that's cups. So 20 cups of flour. Okay, 20 cups of flour. On number 3, here's your y. Where does it touch? It touches right there at 0. So notice on number 3, the x and the y-intercept are the same, but the y-intercept is 0 feet. So the x-intercept was 0 yards, the y-intercept is 0 feet. On number 4, the y-intercept, remember here's your y is up and down, it's 12 inches. Okay, so the y-intercept is 12 inches. And then number 5, now this doesn't tell me a label, but the y is right there at 8. So that's a +8, +8. Some of you get confused. This is a 4. For those that don't see it, and 4 is cut into 2 pieces. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. So I'm counting by 2's. So 2, 4, and then you had a 6, and that's 8. So if you couldn't see that. And then on number 6, the y-intercept is at that point right there, -2. Okay, so you got your x and your y-intercept, where it touches. Now another vocabulary word that we have is we have the word maximum. Maximum is the highest point on a graph. Okay? So I'm going to use the orange. Maximum is the highest point on a graph. Okay, the highest point. So we're going to go through and we're going to look at all the points. We're going to highlight those in orange, and then we're going to go back and find the ordered pairs. So on number 1, you always start from the left. And so the highest point would be right here. That's the highest point. Number 2, this one is the highest point. That's our maximum. And I'm going to highlight maximum so we know that we're looking at. On number 3, it's right where that curve, it's like you're going up on a roller coaster and you're going up, and right before you go down, you hit that maximum point. On number 4, this is your maximum. You start high and you go low, like on a slide. So you start up high and you go lower, so you start at the maximum. On number 5, the maximum, you're starting low and you're going high. So this would be my maximum. And number 6, same thing. You're starting low and you're going high. There's your maximum. So we want to identify those points, okay? So to identify those points, you have to use your X and Y axis. Now, I'm going to go through, and on maximum and minimum, I'm going to go ahead and put my ordered pair before we get started. So when it asks for maximum and minimum, they usually want an ordered pair. Now sometimes they will just want the Y value, but sometimes they want the ordered pair. So you have to recognize both. So we're going to talk about both. Now on in your ordered pair, remember that the first number is always the X, and we've done yellow with X, so I'm going to put the yellow is always your X. As a reminder, you go down and do the yellow X-axis first, and the Y is always the green, okay? So the Y is always the green, so I have to do that second. Some of you do much better thinking about the color code. You've got to do the X before the Y, okay? So we are going to identify the maximum. So I go to that orange point. So remember, I got to go down to yellow. So I'm going to go down here, and what number is that? That is 10. So I put 10. And then I go across. Well, that's 2200. So my maximum is 10, 2200. Sometimes they want just the Y value. So sometimes they'll want just 2200. Okay, on number 2. So you have to go down to the Y value, the X value first, sorry about that, which is 0. And then right there, your Y value is 20. So if I just wanted the Y value, it would be 20. On number 3, I have to go down. So halfway between 40 and 80 is 60. Okay, like right here, so 40 divided by 2 is 20. So this is 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120. So this is 60. And then if I go across, so again, 40 divided by 2 is 20. So 20, 40, this is 60, 80, 100, 120, 140. So halfway between 140 and 160 would be 150. And if I just wanted the Y value, it would be 150. The next one on number 4, go down to the X first, which would be 0, and then right there at 12. Or if I just wanted the Y value, it would be 12. The maximum, so we're going to take the tip of that arrow, and I'm going to go down to the X, right, if I go straight down. So between 12 and 16 is 14. And then going across, it looks like, so going by 2, so that'd be 22. 14, 22. I went across. And then on, that'd be 22 if I was just looking for the Y. And then number 6, so I'm going to go down, which would be 10. And then I'm going to go across, okay, which would be, looks like it'd be about 5 by the time the arrow kept going right there. And if I just wanted the maximum Y value, it'd be 5, right? Now this time we're going to go back, and you have your pink highlighter. We want to do the opposite of maximum, and we're going to do minimum. Minimum. Minimum is not the highest. The minimum is the lowest. So minimum is the lowest. So we're going to highlight the word minimum, and we want to find the lowest point on each of these graphs. Okay? So we want to find the lowest points on each one. On number 1, my lowest point is right there. On number 2, my lowest point, it's the lowest part on the graph. Number 3, I have 2 of them. Those are both the lowest points. On number 4, it's the 6. Number 5 is this point right here. Number 6, this point right here. So we're going to go back and we're going to identify my ordered pair. Now remember, for my ordered pair, I always have to do the x first and then the y. So the minimum, go down to your x, which is 0, and the y, which is 1400. And if they just want the y value, that would be 1400. Okay, sometimes they do. Number 2, the minimum, you're at 10, and then go across, it's 0. So if I wanted the y value, it would just be 0. Okay. Number 3, I have 2 of them. So I have the first one here, which is 0, 0. And then I have another one, which is 120, 0. But no matter what, both of them have a y value of 0. So the minimum y value is at 0. So if I just wanted, what's the minimum? Y value is 0. If they want to order pair, you can either put 0, 0 or 120, 0. And number 4, my minimum, I have a 6 on the x, go across, and it's a 0. Or my minimum is 0. Number 5, the minimum, so that is negative 22, and then go across, and that is at negative 14. So my minimum is negative 14. And then on number 6, so if I go up, my minimum is negative 10. If I go across, my minimum would be negative 9. So the y value would be negative 9. And that's how you interpret graphs.